Hello, my name is Michael. I'm a naturalist with the East Bay Regional Park District based at the Crab Cove Visitor Center in Alameda. And we made this video to show off the Crab Cove environment. Look at that beautiful, beautiful mud flat. Well, all right, let's be honest. It's not particularly beautiful. But, most people don't think when they look at that it's a beautiful environment. It's nothing compared to Yosemite, Joshua Tree, an old-growth forest, but it's beautiful in another way. It's filled with life. It provides so much food for birds. One time I was out here and counted about 5,000 shorebirds right between these rocks here and that concrete thing over there. 5,000 birds right here, all eating animals in the mud. So mudflats are really, really important. About 90-something% are gone of the mudflats that used to be in the bay, mostly from things like habitat destruction caused by development. But the ones that we have left are really important, and now governments and agencies are working to restore mudflats and even create new ones to make up for a lot of that loss. All right, let's go check it out. As you can see, the mudflat right here is filled with bird tracks. This was maybe a couple hours ago that these birds were here, and they could have been here by the hundreds, if not thousands. This mudflat this morning is really covered with what we call bat ray bathtubs. That's just a kind of a cute term we use at Crab Cove for a hole that a bat ray made, probably last night at high tide when it was hunting. What they do is they swim onto what is now the mud flat. Remember, it's high tide, so they're well underwater, and they're hunting animals in the mud. Maybe a big clam, a worm, something that's worth eating, and digging this deep hole. But what they do is they take their fins and they push and pull that water, and it digs a hole. Not exactly like you might with a shovel in a garden, but they are good diggers, and they take that mouth and they grab whatever it is in that mud out with the mouth, which is on the bottom of their face. Right? And then, of course, after they're done, they just don't, fill in the hole like we might in a garden. They swim on to find more food. And so what's left behind are these holes, and as we walk by, one thing that's pretty amazing about them is that a lot of stuff gets caught in them, and sometimes this is where we find fish. And it's really fun to watch birds hunting the fish in these big holes, almost like a mini pond that are left behind where all these animals are taking refuge. Now, these fish that live in here, sometimes it gets really hot. Imagine the summer heat, summer sun and heat just really warming this up. This could get 90 degrees sometimes, this water. Here is a ghost shrimp mound of dirt. So right now there's a ghost shrimp in the mud. I'm not exactly sure how deep, but it actually would be really hard for us to catch that ghost shrimp. We're not allowed to dig here in the mud, first of all, but if we tried, I wouldn't be able to catch it with my hands. You would need a special tool because they're really far down. They're avoiding predators like shorebirds that are trying to eat them. When the tide's high, they're much closer to the surface. They're really amazing animals. They have one really long, what looks like a claw almost. And you remember the picture that we showed you before? Really quite amazing, really important parts of the food chain. But I hardly ever see them because if they were out on top of the mud, guess what? They'd be eaten. So I've seen maybe 3 live ghost shrimp in my 14 years here at Crab Cove. The base of any food chain, of course, are plants. And in the bay, we're looking at seaweeds and algae. Look at this seaweed, a big clump that is washed up. And this gets eaten by other animals. And if it wasn't for seaweeds, of course, we wouldn't have all these birds out here. We wouldn't have, all the life that we have in the oceans and in the bays. Here on the mud, you can see this kind of like brownish color. That's a type of algae that is growing on the mud, and that gets eaten by all kinds of animals. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Crab Cove mudflats and some of the amazing creatures that live here. Mudflats are actually quite rare in San Francisco Bay and truly important for wildlife. Remember that one way that we can protect mudflats and the San Francisco Bay in general is to keep our neighborhoods clean. Pick up trash around where we live, avoid polluting so that when it rains and storm drains pour water into the bay, less trash and less pollution goes into the bay. Thank you very much.